Hey Taurus Sisters, it's Amy Kay. In this video, let's talk about getting excited for the fall feast, building anticipation in your home and in your heart for what is right around the corner. So as I'm making this video, the fall feasts are just about 1 month until Yom Teruah. Now I know some of us celebrate it on different days, but I think most of us are about 1 month out. And so now is the time. In my opinion, now is the time to really start building that anticipation in your house. The scriptures don't really say that, but I think it helps us to prepare our homes and our hearts for the goodness that is coming later. Not to mention, just doing the fall feasts and doing them well takes preparation. Now remember, there's a difference between what is commanded and then what is tradition and like extra stuff. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about in this video are not commands. It's the extras, the little touches that makes the feast even better, and it really helps us then to focus on the commands, such as gathering together and worshiping, taking care of the poor, and things like that. So always know that we ought to distinguish between commands and then extras and traditions. So I like some extras and traditions, and so that's what we're going to talk about. So throughout the years doing this is something I hear ladies talk about online as either the spring or the fall feast approaches. How do I build that excitement in the house? And this is true whether you live, whether you have a family or even if you live alone. How do I get things, like in the mood and get the house excited? So here's, I think, what we're sort of relating it to. Most of us used to do Christmas. And if you remember doing Christmas, and we do, it's not just like one day. It was a whole season of all kinds of things. Of course, they call it the spirit of Christmas, which we don't want to call it the spirit of the fall feast. But a lot of that was doing things that made you think about the upcoming, to them, a holiday. And then we sort of miss that, and we miss that anticipation building up. Some of the things that we used to do leading up to Christmas are not necessarily wrong, and we can do some of those things in Bible ways for a Bible thing, a Bible holiday called the feast. And I'm going to go through some of those ideas. But what we miss, I think, is the anticipation, the fact that it was not just one day, but there was excitement and activities, things that we did leading up to that day. Now, of course, the fall feasts are like a lot more than one day. Isn't it so much better? And there's so much more meaning, and they're the right thing to do. So in this current issue, store.taurussisters.com, you can get this issue mailed to your house. Look at what it says: Fall Feast Excitement, and that is pointing you to at least one of the articles about that is one that I wrote called Building Excitement for the Fall Feast. So I'm going to take you through some of the ideas that I wrote in this article, not every one. One idea that you can do, and again, these are things that you can do now, between now and the feast, or, some of them are like in between. And I know that Yom Kippur is not like a fun feast. So I'm more talking about like Teruah and Sukkot, last great day. You can make gifts. If there are people in your life who you appreciate or who you want to show love to in a way of making gifts, this is something that you can do. You can make homemade gifts, like dry ingredients in a cookie jar. And in fact, in past issues, there's at least one article that has ideas for homemade gifts. So that's something that you and your family can do now, is start making those homemade gifts, and you can distribute those gifts before the feast. There's nothing wrong with giving a gift, a week before the feast and saying, "Happy feast season. I was thinking of you. Here's a special gift for you." Like piano teachers or the leaders of your congregation, your mail delivery person, whoever it is that you want to show appreciation for. This is a beautiful season to do that. And sometimes other kinds of gifts might be appropriate too. Not commanded, but it can be a nice if you want to give a gift to people, to do it this time of year might be nice. It is a time of year to be generous. And there are commands about taking care of the poor which is part of what the offerings were during this time of year. So consider making gifts. And so that can be, a project, because you're going to set it up in your house. You're going to get all the ingredients, all the things. And you can also, along the same lines, I have an idea in here to do crafts. There are lots of ideas and online, and you can look up, if you want to Google different kinds of crafts. First of all, again, download or purchase the back issues of the Fall Feast magazine. There are all kinds of Fall Feast activities in those back issues, even in this one. But beyond that, you can Google things like Thanksgiving craft or Thanksgiving children's craft, things like that. A lot of the Thanksgiving stuff works very well for the feast season because it's a harvest festival that we're doing. We're celebrating the Father's goodness and his provision, and of course looking forward to his return and all of that. But being grateful and having a feast of ingathering type of theme, or a theme of being blessed, all of those kinds of crafts would be very appropriate. Some people make like little paper mache shofars and things like that. Again, go download past issues. But there's all kinds of crafts. And a lot of Jewish websites have crafts also for the fall feast. So Google craft for Sukkot or craft for Yom Teruah, things like that. And you'll find probably a lot of Jewish sites with some wonderful crafts. And crafts are not just for children. Crafts are for grown-ups too sometimes. Along those lines then, consider decorating your home. And that might be the first thing that you start doing. Just get your home, make your home a little different this time of year. If you want to, it's not commanded, but this is a time to make your home atmosphere stand out this time of year. Most of us go away for Sukkot, so sometimes in the past I didn't decorate my home because I'm like, well, we're just going to be away for Sukkot. We're not going to be at my home. But I'm realizing I'm missing that opportunity to get me and my kids excited just by decorating my home. And I have lots of other videos and ideas in the magazines about what and how to decorate. But sometimes using crafts as decorations are a wonderful thing and very affordable. Play music. Make a playlist on your Spotify or your YouTube or whatever of music that will be your fall feast music. Consider songs about Yeshua's birth. Consider songs about joy. Consider songs about Yeshua's return. Consider songs about looking forward to eternity with him. These kinds of joyful songs are great to have on a playlist. And then make that, of course, you can listen to these songs all year long, but make a playlist that's a little bit different or has a different mix of songs, and then you listen to it every year at the fall feast. And I used to have a playlist for Passover songs or for like the spring feast. And again, they were fun. And at first I didn't really think anything of it. And so I didn't do that for the fall feast. But I tell you what, it is like 8 years later now or whatever. And every time I play that playlist, my children and me, we think Passover, we think spring feast, we think unleavened bread. That specific playlist of those specific songs takes our minds and our hearts to that season. And we start thinking and dwelling on those things. So don't think, the first year it'll be fun, but it will become a tradition. It will become a memory and a thing that builds anticipation. So I highly recommend a feast playlist. Cater to the senses. What does your house look like? Decorations. What does it smell like? Have some special candles. Pumpkin spice, right? And all the fall scents. Bring them into your home in candles. And then sound. Make a playlist. Things like that. So cater to the senses in a way that makes your home set apart. There's so much in here, and this video is getting too long already. Another thing... Here, I'll give you one more idea from the magazine, from this article, but then go get the magazine to get the rest of the ideas, is to do service projects. again, read the scriptures about giving money. But beyond that, consider giving your time and consider your family as a unit or as a congregation, or if you're single, getting the other singles in your congregation together and do a service project. Find a place that needs manpower. And I don't mean just like drop in at a food bank for a couple hours. I mean like a pregnancy resource center where you're going to paint and tear out the carpet and put in new carpet. And maybe you even do a fundraiser to buy those supplies for them. I know now running like a nonprofit that it's a lot of work. A project is a lot of work. People will say, I want to come in and do work, but then I have to measure and buy the supplies and run it and everything else. If someone came to me and said, Amy, we're going to do the whole thing. We're going to do the fundraising. We'll come in, we'll measure. You can help us pick out the paint color, and then we're going to just run with it. Well, that's awesome, because a lot of these organizations, those are volunteers and they don't have time, or their plate is already full. So consider finding some organization that you can really be boots on the ground and help them, and then consider the fundraising. So that's also like a monetary gift to help them. And there's all kinds, not an organization, maybe you're going to go and take care of the homeless for a day, or, I mean, I don't know. There's a thousand ideas, but make it very deliberate, and you should start now, because I don't think you want to do those projects during the feast, and certainly not on a feast day or a Shabbat. You want to do those on your off day. So again, it's a sacrifice of your time to spend a Sunday doing that, or to take off a weekday and do those projects. But then, you're going to tell those people, we're here now because this is a special season to the Father, and He loves you, and we want to demonstrate that love to you. And that's why we're here now, because this is our season of joy, and we want to help you during this season. So think about doing something, but doing it with other people. Make it a group effort. It's also a great way to get to know people in your congregation, and get the kids involved if at all possible. Get the kids involved. They're good workers. They're good fundraisers. Do a car wash or something, not on Shabbat, but even the fundraising is huge. And maybe that's what you do. Maybe and I'll tell you again, running a food bank, money is wonderful. So maybe as a group, on top of your tithe, you're going to do a fundraiser for an organization. So just ideas, things that you can start right now, in addition to all your feast planning. I think we're getting good at planning our menus. In fact, if you don't have ideas for menus, there's tons of menus and recipe ideas for the feast, for the fall feast in this issue. So we're good at planning the actual feast days, but there's more that you can do. There's a lot more we can do in that month leading up to get us excited and to honor the feast, and then have our time free during the feast to do those holy convocation and worship things that we're commanded to do. So, all right, I'll see you later. Bye.